President Obama quietly announced a plan to gut welfare reform by dropping work requirements. Under Obama's plan, you wouldn't have to work and wouldn't have to train for a job. They just send you your welfare check. And welfare to work goes back to being plain old welfare.
That is not true. As a factual policy matter, that is not true. But it is out there. And strategically, it seems to be part of the Romney campaign's new bid to try to change the subject away from what everybody else has been talking about for weeks now, which is their own candidate's refusal to release his tax returns. This is a new gambit from the campaign, part of an effort to start talking about anything else, even if it is what I believe to be obvious dog whistle racism in this newest campaign gambit. Joining us now is Melissa Harris Perry, host of the great MSNBC weekend morning show with the same name. Melissa, it's good to see you. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely. Happy to do it.
Is this Newt Gingrich's food stamps president redux? Is this President Reagan's welfare queen attack redux? Is this anything new, or is this part of a pattern?
Well, don't miss it. There's another part of that pattern, and that is President Bill Clinton's welfare reform redux. In other words, what I want to be really clear about how African-American single mothers who are in circumstances of poverty and trying to raise their children in difficult circumstances, that's what we're talking about when we use this kind of welfare queen boogeyman. And certainly Ronald Reagan and his Republican predecessors, the people who came after him are people who gave us that language, who stoked the fire of it in both local elections like Jesse Helms that you pointed out earlier around affirmative action, but also George Bush's campaign and Willie Horton and all of that. But it is also the tactic that was used by Bill Clinton to move the Democratic Party nationally far enough to the right to win the votes that turned the party in part into, I think, a much less courageous party around questions of race. And so, earlier you were pointing out the importance of talking about women's reproductive rights and going right at that and saying Democrats are going to be brave about this and make this an issue on which they will run. Well, the fact is Democrats are going to have to eschew the legacy of Bill Clinton and go right at this question of racial equality.
On the issue of policy here, though, one of the things that I think hamstrings the Obama campaign on this is that they've made essentially no policy on welfare issues, at least nothing that sparked this. I mean, the waiver, the request that they have granted from these Republican governors is a very mild change to this policy that will play out differently in different states, depending on whether or not they get these waivers, whether or not they use them. And it doesn't actually have any national political implications because there is no national policy change except to give states a little more flexibility. And so President Obama isn't doing something here that he can campaign on. It's the attack seems to be the political act here, not the policy. Absolutely.
And I think those are the two pieces. So on one side, there's a policy point here where the president is actually contributing to a kind of states' rights philosophy, right, which the Republicans claim to be at the center of their own political ideology, is this idea of states making their own choices. But we know that the conservatives tend to only want that if they believe that states are going to make choices that track towards conservative policies and ideological positions. So, for example, they're not very interested in state-by-state marriage equality. They are very interested in state-by-state reductions of Planned Parenthood capacity, for example. So on one hand, there's this policy issue where the president can say, look, I haven't made any serious change, and to the extent that I have, it actually moves towards states' rights, and that's what you guys claim that you like. But I do think on the question of tactics and this position that you can use African-American bodies, and particularly the bodies of poor black women, as a boogeyman, as a wedge that basically, right, the goal here is to distract white women who, if they pay attention to what's going on with reproductive rights, will overwhelmingly choose President Obama and congressional Democrats to encourage them not to think about that issue, but instead to stoke racial resentment, primarily among white women voters, in order to get them to vote their race rather than their gender.
I have to say, Melissa, your academic work and your writing about the stoking of white economic resentment as a tool against black politicians, but also against liberalism in general, is more than anything shaped my thinking about this. It's why I wanted to talk to you about it tonight. So thank you for doing that academic work, and thanks for being here tonight. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Rachel.